The intention of the people, what the 5% speaks. Okay. Some of you will have noticed my injured nose. No, I did not get into a fight. I had a medical procedure that is healed to the point of scabbing over and cracking. It's normal and it was expected, even if it looks ghastly. One of the books I read in preparation to reach the 5% of we the people who want the national conversation to change from fight and name calling and pushing we the people aside with sound bits and political manipulation and power politics is the book This is an Uprising by Mark and Paul Engler. It is a study of nonviolent groups who changed the course of politics in their countries. A very interesting and very insightful read. I took it slow and easy and made notes of what we, the 5%, need to do and how our methodology creates a cross-fed movement that is needed for our day and our time and our message. But the title, This is an Uprising, continually raises a question in my mind. What kind of movement are we? Yes, we are a nonviolent, nonpartisan, oh boy, we are participating. We are a nonviolent, nonpartisan gathering of people with wildly different political agendas, even different core values, for the purpose of creating a difference, of creating a change. Yes, we are calling for political systems to change from non-constitutional structures that have led us to the current us-them political and social wars, to change how the business of politics is done within the framework set out in the Constitution. And yes, we are calling on we the people to rise up and make our expectations and wishes known. So in my mind, I kept looking for an English word that describes this. We are rising up. We are pressing for change within the government and its political institutions. So what are we? Today, I sat down and looked up some words that we probably do not want to be associated with, but which describe uprisings: revolution, insurgency, revolt, rebellion, and then uprising. See, words have meaning. Dictionary meanings, yes. But words have meanings that we must be concerned with. We have to be concerned with the meaning that the words provoke in the minds of the listeners, the images that do to past or present happenings, the word brings up in our minds, the images it brings up in our minds. And we have to be concerned about the emotions and gut reactions those images provoke in people's brains on autopilot. When meeting people, you and I are aware that the first impression creates lasting responses and can prevent us from learning about the human that person really is. But the same is true with words. The first emotions and reactions a word produces can make the difference. The difference between rejection and curiosity, between defenses going up and listening happening, between embracing an idea and pushing the speaker away. But again, what are we, the 5%? Does the label we choose create openness or dismissal, even opposition? Well, let's look at the word revolution. A formidable overthrow of a government and social order in favor of a new system. We strongly want that change. We want a change that creates new systems of doing politics. We want a change in the story, the expectations of politics and of government. But a forceful overthrow of government or the social order, that's not us. How about rebellion? An act of violent or open resistance to an established government or ruler. Another one, the action or process of resisting authority, control, or convention. We, the 5%, are moving from silence and disenfranchisement into resistance in order to prevent the continuation of the current political status quo, the established systems of government. We are speaking and modeling the difference we wish to see happen. Ours is an open resistance. As our message spreads and people and politicians try to call our bluff, when we do not capitulate, then the strength of our resistance will become more and more visible. We most certainly are resisting the authority, control, and conventions that have stolen our rightful place of authority, control, and governing in a representative government. But a rebellion? We are certainly against acts of violence. We are not a rebellion. We are not for insurrection, mutiny, revolution, insurgencies, rioting, civil disorder, unrest, anarchy, fighting in the streets, a coup, a regime change, or a coup d'etat. We are not a rebellion. But speaking of that word insurgency, insurgency means an active revolt or uprising. And we, the 5%, repudiate insurgency and all that it stands for. But what of the word revolt? Revolt has several meanings. The first, rise in rebellion. We have already repudiated the standard definition of rebellion. So rising in rebellion is not about us. Another meaning, cause to feel disgust. Now, I hope we help people feel very disgusted about the political status quo, if they're not already feeling it. But we, the 5%, believe that more than 5% of us people already feel that same disgust that we do. But as for the other meaning of revolt, an attempt to put an end to the authority of a person or a body. That's a little more dicey. In some ways, it certainly sounds like us. But we are not peasants rising up in revolt. We are not rioting or seeking to create an insurrection. We are not a revolt. Which brings us back to where we began. Are we an uprising? Maybe, but not in the conventional expectations of the term. We clearly want to avoid the emotional reactions and that come with the word uprising. We want to avoid the emotional reactions that the word uprising creates in the minds of many Americans, including me. Uprising, an act of resistance or rebellion, a revolt. We already said we are not a revolt. We are not an armed uprising. We are trying to help our country escape the possibility of civil war and an armed uprising. But the act of gathering together as the 5% is an act of resistance. We are an uprising in the sense of a resting giant coming to full awareness and sitting up. We are an uprising in the sense of victims of bullying standing up after having been walked over. We are rising up, but we do not want the baggage that comes with the label of an uprising. We are a gathering. We are a neutral, nonviolent, nonpartisan gathering of people who hold wildly different political agendas, but come together to stop the current fight and flight practice of politics and to seek to form a more perfect union to establish justice and to ensure domestic tranquility. We are a gathering of people of like mind with a common objective. We, the 5%, are a gathering of people. Till we gather again.